Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the State 48 Homeowner Podcast. This is a very, very cool episode because it is Independence Day weekend. It is our 100th episode. And for our 100th episode, I figured I would keep it nice and personal and invite some family in here. So we have Caleb and Sarah Walterman. I call them the Walter people. But welcome. Thanks for coming in. Caleb, you and Sarah bought a home how long ago?
A little over 2 years now.
A little over 2 years. This was not your first home that you had purchased.
Correct.
And so I want to talk with both of you about that journey from renting to home ownership. And you guys have some diverse trails that you went, because you've been married now it'll be 3 years coming up here in a few months.
Yep.
And why don't you tell me about that? Because you have a pretty unique little courtship experience.
Yeah, we actually met in 2020, right at the start of COVID. And it gave us a chance to really get together pretty much each weekend. I was living in Arizona at the time. Sarah was in the Coachella Valley area. And so I would head over her direction each weekend, and we would spend some time together at my parents' house. They had a vacation home there. So we were able to both meet there and hang out by the pool. And there wasn't a lot going on in the world at that point, but she had an apartment down the street. So it just gave us a chance to really get to know each other in a low pressure environment. And we dated for a few months, got married after 9 months of knowing each other.
So you met, dated, proposed, planned a wedding, got married, honeymooned, all during COVID lockdown.
Yeah, during calendar year 2020.
Yeah. So, that's pretty cool. And so you were living in Mesa at the time.
Yep, West Mesa.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the journey that got you there. So we'll start actually with Sarah. Sarah,
yes.
How many places, just off the top of your head, how many places do you think that you probably rented from high school to getting hitched with this guy?
Probably between 6 and 8 different places over maybe a 9-year period.
And so some of them were, I remember you lived in an apartment in your parents' backyard.
Correct. Yes. And actually twice at two different
houses. 2 different places, because
yes.
They were both in San Bernardino.
Yes.
One was up in Cajon, and the other one's where they're at now.
Yes.
And so you had a little bit of freedom.
Yes.
And you paid rent?
No.
So you got, that was a pretty good deal.
It was.
Yeah. My sister's nicer than I might be with my kids. We'll see. So, and then you've had some pretty other unique.
Right. So I was teaching for a while, and every summer I would move to a new apartment and just rent a new place. I don't even think owning a home crossed my mind. Mm-hmm. Like, it seemed very far out of reach, something that you would do in your 40s and not something that you could attain younger.
And you were a teacher.
And I was a teacher, yeah. Right? So yeah, every summer for 5 or 6 years, just spent moving into a new apartment.
So now one of them, I think you said you were in the basement.
The lower level of an apartment, so first floor,
okay. Underneath
a young family with a toddler that would scream all night long. So that was an interesting year for us.
And then, so you had pretty consistent roommates, though?
I lived alone most of the time.
Okay.
One of the places I moved into was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I lived with a friend for a couple of months. But most of the time I just lived by myself.
Hey everyone, this is Kenny Klaus with Klaus Team Real Estate Solutions. We know there's a lot of confusion in today's market, whether it's billboards, TV, radio, mail, everyone's trying to get your attention. They offer one lane, where at the Klaus Team, we have over 20 different programs. We can help you navigate through to find out what's best for you. And remember, we work for you, they work for themselves. We're here to represent you and make sure you have the best experience possible.
Visit us at klausteam.com/call us first. Caleb, what did pre-homeownership look like for you?
So graduated high school and went to college in Southern California.
And what college was that?
Azusa Pacific.
And who else went there?
I think I see your degree on the wall behind me from there.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, no, it's a good spot. But I lived there for 3 years in an apartment right off campus. And it was 1 bedroom, didn't have a dishwasher. I think it had 1 power outlet in the kitchen, wall-mounted AC. So it served me well during that time period.
Living the dream.
Yeah, living the dream. In the summer, I'd have to set up box fans to pipe all the AC into my bedroom. I remember it's just too hot outside to open the window. But made that work. Graduated from APU and then moved out to Austin, Texas.
Because you liked the heat.
Yes, I want to try humidity.
Yeah.
So upgraded to Texas. Moved there in the summer, thunderstorms and all that during that time. But found an apartment maybe a few miles out from downtown. It was a nice spot. Had dog parks there, but didn't really know anybody out there. So about a year and a half after living in that apartment, I wanted to move to Arizona and try something new. So I moved back to the Pacific Northwest where I'm from originally. And that was kind of my base of operations as I was prepping to move to Arizona for the first time. And so living with my folks there and had about a 6-month period to get ready to move to Arizona. I was training for my job at the time in Oregon, and they're going to open a restaurant that I was going to go work at in Scottsdale. So I knew kind of where I was going to end up. And then I had the choice to make between trying to find somewhere to rent down there or buy something. So ended up touring some apartments when I visited Arizona about 6 months before moving here to kind of scout it out and get a sense of where I wanted to live. So I looked at some apartments. They all seemed nice. It was definitely an option. And then one day I was sitting in Oregon a few months before I was going to be set to move down. And I thought about maybe looking at buying something, see what the options were at least, just to gather all the info I could. And so I put my info into LendingTree, I think it was. And I think a day later, somebody reached out. A few people reached out, but one person in particular gave me a call. I thought that was neat. So talked to them about 30 minutes, got all the info he needed to get me qualified for something. So he sent me the amount I was qualified for, and it seemed actually like something I could use to buy a home. So I got in touch with the real estate agent down there in Arizona and ended up buying a condo pretty much sight unseen. My parents were there to visit, just doing something else, and they swung by that condo and actually looked at it with the realtor. And they gave me the thumbs up, said it was a good area, a good spot. And so I, trust them obviously. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it.
And what year was that?
That would have been April 2018.
So April 2018. And so you were there for almost 3 years.
Yeah, it was about 2.5 years living there.
And what was that like? How are your neighbors? Did you hear them a lot?
The condo I was in, the units were kind of isolated from each other, which is kind of nice. We had garages downstairs, but I never really got to know any of my neighbors. It wasn't like that sort of place. It kind of felt like renting an apartment still, even though I owned a condo. But I did have a community pool, which is nice. So I would actually talk to a few people there, get to know them. But it still kind of had that feel of an apartment, even though it was a condo. But it still felt good to own something.
So that was a big difference. So between an apartment is having that condo, and what happened between 2018 and when you sold it, and you sold it in early 2021, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, right in that time period there, tail end of 2020.
So what was different with the condo than when you were renting apartments?
So one nice thing about owning something, especially during that time period, was that you built equity. And so I would check out Zillow, every couple months, and I would just kind of keep tabs on what my condo was doing. And it started climbing, which was nice to see. I didn't really have any plans for it other than just to kind of stay put and see what developed in my life. So kept watching the equity climb, and it was nice knowing that I wouldn't have to worry about my rent increasing at all. Having that mortgage stayed the same. The HOA luckily was really well managed and well run, so that HOA fee never really went up significantly at all.
And it was a nice community. It was nice and green, which is always nice to drive home into, and the pool, and so the quality of life there was pretty strong. And
it was built in the mid 90s, so a lot of mature trees. So it was a good spot. And the two community pools were nice to hang out by in the summer. It was a nice mature community, a lot of snowbirds in there, but it was just a nice spot.
And then you guys got married, and said, hey, it's you guys could both fit in the condo because you had a roommate. How many roommates?
I had just my cousin live with me at the time in the 2-bedroom condo.
And your sister also lived in town.
If she wasn't in there already, she was thinking about moving back from California because she lived in Arizona previously.
And then, so you guys said, okay, I think it's time to make a move. And so you listed that one. Now, Sarah, when you were moving from apartment to apartment,
Yes.
let's talk about so you decide, okay, I'm going to leave at the end of this lease.
Right.
I'm going to go to the next one. What did you bring with you? You basically had your deposit, right?
Sometimes you didn't even get the deposit back, or even most of it. They keep it for carpet renovations or paint updates or, whatever they decide to list. So not always.
Yeah. And so Caleb, when you sold the condo and started and you guys were in the midst of a search for a home, it was a crazy time in the market at that point. Pretty competitive for buying, and you guys had that short-term rental that you stayed in the in-between time. But so unlike apartments, when you get done and you might get your deposit back, what did you take with you on the way out?
I think I walked away with probably $70,000
over
the course of a 2.5-year period.
I think that there's a lot of renters that don't understand that.
It's quite a difference.
And we talk about you're paying your landlord's mortgage, which is the case if you're in an apartment, if you're in a home, all that kind of stuff. You're just paying their mortgage, and they're actually walking away with that while you hopefully get your deposit back.
Right.
So then we went and we found your current home, which is a super nice house. The last time we were in there, I'd forgotten how I really like your kitchen.
Thank you.
I really dig the kitchen, and it's a great room layout. So entertaining is pretty easy there because everybody's all in the same room. And for the listener, we all enjoy playing games, board games, and other stuff like that. And so that works out pretty well, especially when you've got people over. Some of them are playing games, some of them aren't. They can hang out on the couch and listen, and we can all play. It's a cool house. You got a great backyard for your dog. And so let's talk about what homeownership means to you guys. You guys now have the cutest daughter in the world.
Thank you.
So let's talk about as young parents, first time parents in a home. What does homeownership mean to you? How is that different than what things would be looking like if you had your daughter, the dog, and you guys in an apartment?
Oh, that would be hectic. Yeah. We have a single story home too, which is nice. Don't have to haul the baby and the dog up 3 flights of stairs, like we would in an apartment. 2-car garage, it's nice having that little slice that's yours. And the neighbors are so much more neighborly in a neighborhood like that. So we actually talk to our neighbors, which is crazy. I don't think in all my years of renting, I don't think I ever got to know any neighbor at all. Everyone just kind of kept to themselves, but now we love our neighbors, and they actually helped us out a ton when we were having Lucy. I don't know if Sarah wants to talk about that whole experience.
Yeah, we were in the hospital with her for about 24 days, and our neighbors came by and played with our dog and fed our dog, so we didn't have to worry about that.
Wow.
And they're wonderful people. I love our neighbors. I love our neighborhood. It's just in the middle of nothing, but it's suburban.
Yeah, and you guys have got a great lot because you've got a big green space out in front of you, so no neighbors across from you.
Right.
Just neighbors on the side to side, and of course, you guys have a neighborhood full of neighbors, but all the ones close to you. But you guys have been able to build relationships with the folks that are right around you, which is pretty awesome.
Yes.
The Klaus team is different. With the Klaus team, you have someone on your side. Where you live and make memories is important. We have more unique strategies than anyone else to help you accomplish what matters most to you. We can help you with traditional real estate as well as other options such as our lease purchase programs. We can help you buy first then sell, and we can bring you instant offers. We're here to help our neighbors achieve the American dream and help them build wealth through home ownership. For more info or to start your home search, visit us online at klausteam.com. And then, Sarah, you actually use home for more than a home. It's also a workspace for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your business.
Yeah. So we started a business online making T-shirts and other printing specialties. And so we use our home for that. We have the space to do that, which we wouldn't have if we just had an apartment or even Caleb's old 2-bedroom condo. So we have the space to do that now. We have space for a guest room for when our parents come out and visit their new grandbaby, which is very exciting. So it's completely different, I think, than what we would have experienced if we were still just renting a place.
Because you had not only grandma come, but 2 great grandmas.
Correct.
All
We
at
had a
the
full
same
house.
time. Yeah. And so let's talk about the kind of shirts that you guys make. So one of the consistent designs that you guys have the little videos that you do on social media, which
Yes.
is awesome, and it shows how you put them together. But a lot of what you do is where somebody is in a city and proud of it. You'll do an outline of their state, put the little heart where the city is, and
Yes.
put the name of the city.
Yes.
And how could people find that?
So they can go online to Etsy and search for our company, which is called Dimensional Printworks. Or just specifically, if you want to type in, it's dimensionalpw.etsy.com. And you can find all of our t-shirts, all of our designs. We have more than just the state outlines, but those are our popular t-shirts.
And they're pretty cool. And then Caleb, you've got one of those jobs that he's in the aerospace industry. It's the specifics he would have to kill us if we dove into it. But you're a little bit further out, but you're still commutable, especially with the new freeway and stuff like that. But as you look at home values and as you look at your future, how has homeownership kind of built your future for you, and what do you think your next steps are?
Well, it's definitely, buying a home was definitely the best decision financially could have made. It really got us jump started, building that equity up and then cashing in on it, and pretty much immediately turning around and putting that money back into another house as a down payment. That's helped us tremendously, and it's going to help us hopefully buy another home as we grow our family. I think once we get to the 3-kid mark, we'll probably try to move out of the 3-bed, 2-bath house into something a little bit bigger. But that obviously takes another chunk of change for the down payment. So the question for me is, do I try to hang on to this current home that I'm in now? Got a pretty good interest rate. I think I'm under 3%. And maybe rent this one out and look around for another bigger house, or do we just sell this one and use that, the proceeds for a down payment on another house? So it's not super cut and dry right now in my mind. I still have we got some discussing and thinking about it, but we still have a few years before we ultimately have to make that decision.
Yeah. And there's pluses and minuses to both of those.
Right.
And, I don't think that there's too many people that first route that you were talking about where you hold on to it and scrap up the change to find the next opportunity, keep the first one as a as a rental and build some retirement out of it. No one comes out of that and goes, man, I wish I didn't do that.
Right.
But it does, create some challenges.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah.
It's so much easier to just take that equity and roll it into the next property.
Yep.
Like you did on that first one. But there's a lot of opportunities with it. And are you guys, just for those that are out there that are still renting, you guys have a stable house payment?
Yes.
You know exactly. And so, Sarah, when you stopped being a teacher, it was a lot easier to go, okay, well, we know exactly what we spend each month.
Yes.
Versus, hey, got another letter from the landlord.
Right.
Guess what? Things are changing. Sarah's moving to another place.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you've got that going for you. You're building up equity, and you've got a solid base of operations. I can tell you that, it's neat having being in the same place, and the kids being able to build relationships in the community as well as they get older. So that's cool stuff. So I'm glad you guys came on, and it's fun seeing you build a home. That was a blast. Every time I go over there, there's more, and it's just so cool as an uncle to see that, and to see you guys just enjoying that level of financial security, of building for your future, and it's I wish that for a lot of people. Here at the Klaus team. A big part of what we do is helping people achieve the American dream through homeownership. And the American dream, there's a lot to it,
Right.
Homeownership is just a piece of it. That's the one thing that we can kind of help people control at the Klaus team. But, so much more to that, Caleb, you've seen since you've been in Arizona, where you came here and to work in the restaurant industry, and you transitioned to a completely different industry, and you made some advances there, and that's really one of the things that we can celebrate on the 4th of July weekend is that we live in a place where we can advance in our careers. We can advance by buying real estate and investing and putting that money in different places. We have choices, and just grateful for those kinds of freedoms and those abilities in being an American. And I thank you guys for coming by here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Happy 4th.
Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to further discuss. You can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.